Hi guys, happy Friday. So the idea of this week's video is to give you a couple of ways that you could get into abstract work or even becoming more loose in a really low risk kind of way. And I'm also going to tie in with Alexandra. Hi Alexandra. Alexandra's had an issue with time management, so I want to make sure that things that I do today factors in those of us who don't have a lot of time. People are born creative, you know, it's almost like a calling, I think. To be deprived of creativity in a way that you're struggling to find those moments, those pockets of time, can be quite a bummer. So I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks in order to potentially help you get more abstract, more loose, be a bit more playful, with the emphasis on low risk. I'm all about low risk because I can get in my head. I'm an overthinker. I am also a perfectionist, and it's like the number one downfall, isn't it? But I think that overcoming this idea in small bite-sized amounts, that's the key. As soon as you make something that you like that you wouldn't normally have done in your perfectionist way, you've already won, I think, even if it's a small mark, like a line. You know, your brain goes, ooh, you know, you've already won. So to start with, let's talk about this idea of perfection, shall we? Perfection in and of itself is also relative. When I say relative, I mean we have our own idea of what perfection is. An abstract expressionist will have their own idea of what perfection is, as will a realist painter. So we'll start with an oldie, a but goodie. I know a lot of people get hooked on perfection being realism or hyper-realism or photorealism. So I think in order to render something as if it looked like a photo is an awesome skill. So I want to emphasize this, and I want to also acknowledge the title of this video because I know how sassy people can get. I'm just helping those who want to get abstract. So hopefully no hyper-realists are on here waiting for me to just like rip the genre apart. I'm not. It's a great skill, but it's a skill. Any good piece of art, no matter what genre, what style, what medium, anything you do requires practice and skill and dedication, right? We get this, labor of love and all that good shit, fine. But hyperrealism, essentially what you're doing is you are mastering the medium to look like something that already exists. Being abstract comes from a place of intuition, a feeling. You're guided by the textures, the colour, the juxtaposition of all of these things. And that comes from a very personal place. And that's where, and I'm going to say this very loosely, where you would get that original idea. There is an argument that there is no original ideas, but that's a completely different video. The point I'm trying to make, realism, all that encompasses, and abstract expressionism, they are two separate things. And I don't know why, but the brain likes to gravitate more towards one than the other. But at the end of the day, why are you creating artwork? Yeah, what do you want your work to say about you? I feel that being more gestural, being more loose, being a bit crazy certainly suits my whole persona and my outlook on life than realism. If you were to buy a book on hyper-realistic art, you wouldn't then find Joan Mitchell in there, would you? Because she's an abstract expressionist. Do you see what I mean? You're going to find her in there. So just separate your mind, because you're not thinking about perfection. You are thinking about marks, discovery, gestures. It's a completely different ball game. You're in a different room. You're on a different planet. Really work hard at that. I'm going to talk to you about the little things you'll need. You will need a piece of paper, okay? And you'll need a pair of scissors, oh my God. And you'll also need either photographs that you have taken, your photographs. I have picked out my photographic journals, or even a piece of your own artwork. We're not going to cut it up, we're not going to destroy it in any way, but you will need to have access to it. Now you've got your reference material, a piece of paper and some scissors, you're going to go on the other camera. Come on then. Hurry up. This is an A3 piece of paper. You can do it with A4 as well, but I suggest don't go any smaller because you're going to have a hard time if you go any smaller than A4. Okay, A3, A4, Perfect. Now, cut it in half. So if you have an A4 piece of paper, I suggest you get 2 A4s. Now put one to one side. All I want you to do is fold it in half, just loosely, don't go tight with the crease. All you're gonna do then is cut out a square. Make sure it's a lot smaller than your reference page. It's gonna be a bloody nightmare. I think this one's gonna be too big. Get your next one and go even smaller with this one. Basically, all you're creating is a viewfinder. One big, one small. Now let's go over to your reference. So I will flick through. That might be a good one. I've got 2 bits there, right? Grab your viewfinder. Sorry, I'm not prepared. You will need some clips or you'll need some tape. So I'm gonna find a spot on here I think is cool. So I'm just gonna do that. And you kind of know where I'm going with this now, don't you? You get it. So you can see now that my reference image is now nothing but distorted marks. Similarly with this one. So I've got 2 references there, and you can choose to use photographic images or you can choose to use artwork that you've already got. So for example, I just picked one out the top. I could quite happily take, say, this one and potentially just hone in on some colour. See what I mean? That's quite a nice one actually. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to actually complete this, and once you've got your reference material, you can meet me back here. All I've got now is a sketchbook. You can also choose to do it on a bigger piece of paper. Monochrome. I have graphite sticks. I've got pastels, so soft pastels, and I've got some neo colours here. 2 types of brushes, a scratchy one, and you'll also need like maybe kind of like a nylon synthetic soft brush and some water. So what we're going to concentrate on here is texture. This is also good for people who don't have a lot of time, because you can just do the texture today and you can do the colour tomorrow. Do 2 loose boxes, and they don't have to be amazing. Don't worry about perfection, trust me, it will not matter. You take the first one of your little viewfindery things. So here I'm going to pick out the darks and the lights. So you've got some dark bits certainly here, and you got a bit there, and you got some lights here and lights there. I'm gonna go with some neo colours. Right, so I've got a bit there, haven't I? And then a bit that goes out like so. If it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. It's just to get you started, isn't it? So get your darks in first, whatever it may be. And I'm gonna bring that down here, and that comes into there a bit as well, actually. So I'll put a bit lighter in there just to get a bit of contrast, and that kind of moves into that black as well. This one's slightly darker, but not too much darker. And this is a bit more dark, but I'm gonna leave a white line just because, you know, move a bit up there so it's a bit more tonal. There's a bit of light in there, so I'm just gonna plonk it in there. Yeah, and I'm probably just gonna bring a bit down into there. So there's my first one done. Don't worry about what it looks like. Don't be like, doesn't look right. What's right? Let's be honest. This is what this whole purpose is about. I'm going to obscure your view of something, and all you're gonna do is get marks. Don't worry about that. It's done now, right? It's done. You can learn stuff from it in a bit. Now I'm gonna move on to this one, and same again. This is much more difficult. How I'm gonna approach it is take probably the darkest of the 2, which is that one, and do the background, and then I'm just gonna leave circles. You know, I'm just coming up with an approach, yeah? The great thing about this is I don't really know what's gonna happen either. Put some more circles in. Don't worry about where or how, because if I don't like a circle, I can always just go over it, can't I? By the way, this is chewing gum on a wall in Rome. Just thought I'd let you know that. I'm just gonna roughly go round. I'm not gonna think about it too much. Probably loosen up on the dark, because it's getting a bit lighter now. So I'm gonna go with another lighter one and just finish it off in the corner. If you want it to be all posh, you can dot the other colours around the piece. You kind of get a sense of balance if you really want it to be all posh. So there's that bit done. Okay, now what you're going to do is do the same but in colour. all you're going to do is the same concept. This time you are going to look at just the colour. Got a bit of turquoise in there. Block that out. Do another branch here. That kind of goes off sort of like that. And that's pretty much it for the turquoise. I'm going to go with a bit of green. That's good. Get the colours in there. Don't think about it. Dark green now. We've got a darker green. I'll probably just do that there. Look, and it goes in there a little bit. Cool. Brilliant. Right, so we've got a lot of blue up here. So I'm just going to block this out, and I can add more, can't I? And block this bit out as well. I'm just going to go for a bit darker. Blend it in a little bit. We have a dark blue for that. Or is it black? I don't really want to go for black, so I might go for like a bluey grey. So there's a bit up there. Just look, really, really look, and just pin out those colours, no matter how small or insignificant you think they are. Just do it. Spend as much time on this section as you want. You're here already. Get some depth in with the green. I'm going to stop there. I'm quite happy with that. And you're going to do the same with your next one. Right, so we have got reds, haven't we? That's quite a nice red there. Goes off like that. And I'm just going to do bops of red kind of around the little thing, just to kind of tie it all in. We've also got some pink just here, just dotted around like so. There is a violet. Right, now don't overthink it, okay? Just kind of go in there, and if you see it, even if you think you see it, just put it down. Oh, we've got some blues as well in there, haven't we? We've got a bit blue here. Oh, we've got a lovely mint green. Well, do we have a nice mint green? Of course we bloody do. Quite excited about this one. And what else have we got in there? Got more of a salmony. Let's see if we can get some of this in. No, more like this one actually. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm going to keep it there. You have got almost like a negative and a positive on these two, and almost similar on these, really, you know. So look how different all four are. So these are almost like the thumbnails to your next stage. So now you're going to need your big bit of paper. Next stage, which is what, stage 5? How many stages have I done now? Jesus. Anyway, you have just done your thumbnails. I am going to start with putting a ground on this. I don't really like to work on a plain ground, so you can choose to put whatever ground you want on. I'm going to use this ink. I'm going to get a bit of water, get something on so you're less precious. You can take your sponge and sort of make some nicer marks. So let that dry. Basically, the whole idea is you to replicate some of the ideas you have here. You could choose to do this, pick out bits that you really like from these. I love this speckled effect with some red. I love that. But I also like this and this kind of area. You can pick out aspects of each of the 4 that you want to concentrate on, the best of the bunch. So I've just done a swatch here so that I can just check to see I'm happy with the colour on the page. I'm just going to get this line in here. Make sure you go to the edges. That's really, really important for the next phase. Go to the edges. I'm also just going to do this corner. I'm going to get some of this speckled stuff in. So I'll just get the red. Dot it around. So I think I might block in some of this now with this. Yeah, I'll do a bit here as well. I don't really want to mush together just yet. I might change my mind. Again, blop this about a bit. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to dot this type of thing, but with like a similar tone. I don't know what your visual flavour is, you know. If you wanted to keep it there or whatever you've achieved at that point, then by all means do. Don't feel like you need to constantly pack stuff on. It's your visual journey, isn't it? It's about understanding what you like. This is what I'm doing. For me, I like to be all or nothing type of gal. This is a downfall for me because I do end up sort of overworking it somewhat. You can't really see it, but what you can see is like this kind of texture. Do you see what I mean? I might do something more akin to this. See what I'm doing? I'm just experimenting, really. Maybe bring a few more branches in. Include it into the piece a bit more. Maybe get rid of that because I don't really like that. Knock that back a bit. Maybe a pink, actually. Just throw people off. Just treat it like a giant swatcheroonie. This one. This one's quite a nice violet. Oh, that is lovely, actually. Oh, yeah. That's nice. This is for experimenting, so don't shortchange yourself. There we go. I'm going to fix that now. and then we'll move on to the 6th phase of our little experiment. So for this one, if you are lucky enough to have a guillotine, then by all means, get the bad boy out. If you do not, then just get a pair of scissors. What you're going to do is you're going to cut this into 4. You're going to cut it facing down. I find this is the best way. Okay, so obviously that's 1. And then again, I will fold it in half just to make a little halfway mark. I like them to be fairly equal. I'm going to do it again. So keep those to one side, making sure you do not look until I tell you to. Brilliant. So much like tarot cards, you've now got 4 quadrants. So now I want you to just pick up one and look at it. Ooh. Turn it round, look at it in different ways. I'm much more a landscape person. I think it looks quite nice that way, actually. That one looks quite nice, actually, doesn't it? I love this area here, and I like this. Looks like a bit like a tree, you know. You're gonna have a yes and a no pile, all right? Oh, I like that one. Which way does it look better, though? I think I like it that way. I think it's the landscape artist in me, isn't it, right? You know, you've got kind of like the bottom heavy. I like a bit of bottom heavy. That one's nice, that goes in the yes pile. If you have all in yes, then great. If you have all in no, then that's fine as well. Oh. Well, I like that one too. Yep, I like that one. And last but not least, no, I'm gonna say no to that one. So with the one that I'm actually going to work on top of this one and make it delish. Yes, that's right, the Sennelier. I'm going to be bougie. Because it's fixed, nothing on this side is going to move. Oh yeah, baby. So I'm just going to dot some bits of colour around and just see what happens, really. Cover up maybe some of the bits that I don't like. I think this area is freaking me out. So, but that's okay. I'm going to just work with what I've got. Because I like the dottiness of it. It's just not good enough. I might get some more of that red in, actually. Get a good red. Yep, love it. Blob down there. Good. I'm probably going to go in on top now of things to just sort of amalgamate things together. Be a bit more kind of mean with it, I think now. I've got to get more of this stuff. It's bloody marvellous. Right, where's that yellow? Do we have an aggressive yellow? Oh, we do. We have an aggressive yellow. I'm going to leave it there. But now we've got, say, 3 here that, you know, I'm quite happy with. I think the most abstract of the 3 is certainly this one. And there's so much I like about it. I like that it's almost very swatchy. I love this blank space. Because of this line, these linear lines, it kind of fractures the page a bit. I mean, I might even redo this one at a later date. I'm not sure. Some examples that I've already shown you are these. So this one here was a flower. You know, you can sort of see some of it there. But I like aspects of each. You know, I like this kind of linear bit here. I love the circles. Would I chop it up again? I probably would chop that up again. I've even gone and made abstract works like this one, where I just put texture on the page, chop it up, and then I see what I'm left with. And these are quite textured, you see. You know, they are very, very textured. I will work on top of these, like put more sand paste on and have scratched it back off here, which is quite nice. And there's this one I really, really like, actually. I love this one. I think that one's perfect the way it is. And then if I wanted to, I could just take this and recreate it on a canvas, abstract it further. And I could cut that down even more if I wanted to. Or I could use my viewfinders, find bits about it that I quite like. I mean, I love that. That is nice, isn't it? And then I would recreate that. And then you can just draw it out. A bit there. I might add another one, because at the end of the day, why not? And get those spindles really in there. I might even go off the page on that one, actually. Got an acrylic pen to hand. Push it up and down. Yeah. But, you know, if you don't want to do this section, then take old pieces of work, either work on top of it, then cut it, or cut it, then work on top of it, and see what you're left with. You might even find that you love that one, then take that one and scale it up to maybe a full sketchbook size. But ultimately, no matter what stage you start at, these stages are all really quick, easy, very, very approachable, very achievable, very understandable, and just experiment away. A subscriber, I'm so sorry, I have written your name down, but it's on my bloody laptop and it's in the other room anyway. But you know who you are. You had watched an earlier video and found this one to be interesting and made a note of it, right? And I thought, oh yeah, I do like a lot about it. It's just I've moved on. So what I am going to do is rip off the canvas. And the reason I'm doing this is so that I can still use the image, still use the canvas, but I can also use the frame, because I don't think it's going to matter whether it's on the frame or not. Although I do need a knife. Wow, it's coming off like a delight. You know, if there's any work you can recycle, do it. Cut it up. Make it abstract, because if you cut it up small enough, you are going to distort what would be the image, you know? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it inward. I'm going to cut it up the back, but I'm going to cut it into 4. The reason I like to cut it without looking at it is because it's kind of like, you never know what you're going to get. And it's also exciting. I know it sounds stupid. I find it thrilling. How long does it take to cut up a piece that you would normally have either painted over or thrown out? How long does that take? Doesn't take long at all. So I'll let you see it first. What do you think? Ooh. I could probably cut it up again, to be fair. But then it'll make it a really odd size, and I don't really want that. Oh. Oh, now. Ooh. Okay. Oh, yeah. Brilliant. I'm really happy with them. And like I said, you don't have to do anything with them now. Do it, ponder it. It's a great exercise if nothing else. At the end of the day, you're either going to bin it or paint over it anyway. So try it out for size. Try and experiment with that. This one's dry and I'm quite happy with that one. An exercise for colour, these are great. These were just experiments. I had some leftover paint and things from my canvas. So I just thought, well, I'm not wasting it. And it was on a palette and anyway. So I did. It's not me. It's not what I would usually do. That's why I quite like it. I like the colours. I like some of the colour combinations. The different textures. I don't tend to work solely in palette knives because I think it's so overused, isn't it? It's one of those things like you can overdo it, can't you? I also painted a couple of other pieces and then I decided to work on top of them with the Sennelier oil pastel. I didn't film it because I was on conference calls at the time. Multitasking! As you know, I love gloss. A lot of artists don't, but I do because I think it's like, it reminds me of like, you know, sauce, food, yumminess, delish. I really like it. I love these marks though. I love blocking it up. And I don't know whether you can see it, but you can see the oil pastel is like clumped up and created like an awesome texture. I really like that. I was gonna cut that up, but I haven't because I quite like it now. This one's slightly different. I was playing with the idea of the canvas where you saw me start last week, and I wanted to push it further. Rather than wasting copious amounts of material, I would just do one of these, so that's what I did. But those of you who've watched it will remember, but I'll link it nonetheless. When I did my whole mixed media textural video, I've forgotten what it's called now, heavy structure gel and a charcoal powder mix. Well, this is what I used to create the black. Look at all that texture. Oh, delicious. Yeah, I'm really loving it. Nice. And just give you a bit of a close-up of some of those colours and textures. Nice. I was going to cut this one up as well, and I haven't decided what I'm doing yet. I'm going to keep them whole, use them to create bigger canvases, and then potentially cut them up after that. The reason I chose to adopt this idea was because it's meant to be easy, fun, really quick. I want to create a space for people who don't have the time. I do like things to be quick. I like things to be done, and I like results fast. So a lot of what I do is aim towards that, and I think that you could still use that if you don't have as much time as others. I don't know why I'm like that. I don't know. I just think it's because I'm so impatient. I am really impatient. I think that has a lot to do with it. But let me know how you get on. If you decide to go and cut up a canvas, oh my God, let me know. If you've just done a couple of the stages, or like the textured stage, or both the textured and coloured stage, or just the coloured stage. You don't even need to do it in that order. Or if you've just gone and cut work up, just let me know how you get on with it. And if you found this useful and helpful, because, you know, that is why we're here at the end of the day. I am feeling better. Thank you for those who wished me well, and get well soon. It's lovely. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.